Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa barak wa salam. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Thank you so much for joining us for MCC's New Muslim Ramadan Stories series. Today, alhamdulillah, we have Sister Heather with us. Assalamu alaikum, Sister Heather.
Wa alaikum salam.
Thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story with us. It's definitely an honor, and we look forward to hearing from you. Can you tell us more about yourself, or a little bit about yourself? How long have you been Muslim? Background info?
Wonderful. Thank you for the invitation to speak this evening. I'm excited to be here, and I really appreciate it. Alhamdulillah. So for me, new convert, I was invited to recite the Shahada by my now husband, but at the time a new Muslim friend back in September. So many things have changed for me very, very quickly. But after reading the Quran from cover to cover, I realized that I am on the right path and home, and this will be, is kind of the beginning for me of a journey that I look so very forward to. And I will add to that most recently I married this very wonderful person who is the answer to prayers, who is Muslim and had invited me to be Muslim, his Muslim wife. Just recently on the 17th of March in Qatar.
MashaAllah, congratulations.
So there's been so much going on.
MashaAllah, may Allah bless your marriage. Can you tell us more about your journey to Islam, and your, just basically kind of a little bit more about the things that led up to that point where you felt in your heart that you believed and you wanted to take that step?
Absolutely. So for me, my journey was, I was born to a single mother under dire circumstances and was raised without religion. There was no conformity, freedoms, unimaginable freedoms, and things that probably exposed me to ways that were certainly not healthy, but in reflection, I realized my mom was doing the best she could. And so in raising me in a very non-religious environment, I had just kind of lived my life a certain way up to a point where I was in a situation where I lost a loved one who was most dear to me, and it was the worst experience. I was, for the first time in my entire life, most devastated, just broken, and that set me on a path to start exploring deeper meaning. Why am I here? Why do these things happen? And I stumbled upon a Buddhist monastery and was invited to attend and studied for several months, and met the most wonderful Buddhist monks and nuns, and learned prostration and prayer and meditation and how to more discipline my mind. And I still have in memory some of the wonderful mantras. However, there was still something that I was searching for, and a beloved family member had suggested I pray, and it was a Christian prayer that was brought to my attention, and so I began my journey of prayer and ultimately ended up reading the Bible cover to cover, then decided on baptism and started attending church. But again, I was just really like, there has to be more to this, and I had so many questions, and I felt a connection, but I was really, to a degree, feeling like I didn't fit. And I had experienced within the past couple of years some additional deeply felt very hard-hitting losses, and I was once again faced with, why are these things happening? And I feel like I'm a little more spiritual, but I just turned inward and really was, in a certain way, more lost. And the questions that I had, I wasn't finding answers to. And this wonderful person just kind of stumbled my way. And from that point, there were conversations that opened up. And as he began speaking to me about Islam, I realized I had so many questions, and then they just flowed from me very naturally. And when he was talking about Muslims, and did I know Muslims, and I hadn't ever met a Muslim that had ever spoke to me about being Muslim or Islam, so I knew virtually nothing. The only thing that I could relate to was, while I was reading the Bible, there were parts of the Old Testament and scriptures where it was talking about prayer and prostration, and it was, obviously, I identified once reading the Quran that sequence of events obviously are very well accounted for, and had some understanding of who the prophets were, and felt a real deep connection to the Quran. And so that I had this person readily available to ask questions to and to answer my questions was certainly most beneficial. I was truly grateful, and then of course set upon the journey of learning Salah, and I'm still struggling because the Arabic language does not come easy for me. I think I'm one of those people that I've tried learning other languages, and I learn a little and I forget more than I've learned, and I do realize that this is going to be a very long journey, and I just have to be gentle with myself. I tend to be a little bit harder on myself and sort of expect myself to do everything to a measure of not necessarily perfection, but in order, and to make sure everything makes sense and has some deep meaning and that I'm getting it. And so maybe I have a tendency to overthink things, but this is one thing that just feels so natural to me, to a point that when I discovered by doing a DNA ancestry test that I actually have ancestry from Tunisia, a Muslim country, so I'm realizing, this makes perfect sense.
MashaAllah, that's an amazing story, MashaAllah. Allah brings us to Islam in such beautiful ways, MashaAllah, and that's definitely the case for you, MashaAllah.
MashaAllah.
Okay, so you just took Shahada, MashaAllah, just recently. So this is going to be your first Ramadan.
Yes.
And Ramadan is just a couple of days from now. So how are you feeling as we approach the blessed month?
Candidly, I have moments of nervousness and anxiousness. However, I'm realizing that my approach is just really with a high degree of humility. I know so little, and I'm really putting effort into wanting to learn, but wanting to learn so that I can value at the highest level the blessings and the benefits and the rewards, and knowing that it's going to come with challenges. I'm embracing those challenges. That it's going to come with difficulties. I'm embracing those on the front end, realizing that they will shape me and mold me into a better Muslim woman, a better Muslim wife, a better Muslim sister within the community. So I'm grateful, and I'm so very dependent upon Allah to strengthen me and fortify me and bring the wisdom to me and bring good people to me that have experience and wisdom, and Alhamdulillah, I'm really genuinely just feeling so grateful.
Alhamdulillah, alhamdulillah. And mashallah, I really appreciate that you're offering yourself some, self-compassion and trying to just take it easy and put it in Allah's hands, mashallah.
Yes.
So are you feeling apprehensive at all about any particular aspects, or do you feel like you're gonna just take it a day at a time?
Exactly. It's probably really going to be an hour at a time. Fasting is something I've always kind of had a tendency to not do the things that I should do. So never am I ever eating at the same time. Sometimes I don't eat until 2 p.m, and sometimes I don't eat at all in the evening. And I was actually just joking with a family member and saying that I realized that the fasting will be beneficial because I've struggled with framing what I should be doing in terms of food. There have been things that for the longest time I've overindulged in, and as a consequence of that, it's certainly had an impact on health. And so I'm wanting to just really reevaluate my thinking about what I put in my body and how often, and that there are so many people that struggle for just the basics. So I'm feeling a certain amount of responsibility to make sure that I don't overindulge so that more can be shared with others. It's a sensitivity that I have more now, thinking about my intention going in, which is just to really value all parts of Ramadan, and that the fasting, even though I know it's not going to be easy, I will take it hour by hour, day by day, and do my very best. And I haven't even really looked into like what the consequences are if I break fast or if I don't do things the right way. I'm just really trying to focus on what I should do and just the leanings on Allah to strengthen me and ensure that I'll do what I'm supposed to and find the right guidance and counsel.
Inshallah, it'll all fall into place, and you'll figure it out. It's definitely a journey, like you mentioned earlier, that it's a lifelong journey. So inshallah, with each Ramadan we learn more and grow more, inshallah. And also, like you mentioned, subhanallah, it really is a great time to be more mindful about what we're eating and how we're eating. Mashallah, it's really like such a multifaceted benefit during Ramadan, mashallah, subhanallah. Okay, so let's talk about non-Muslim family members and friends, and do you foresee interactions with them during Ramadan, and how do you think that's gonna go?
I actually just received a phone call from a sister who lives in New York. She's coming to California for a week with her boyfriend and has invited me to a night of comedy next Wednesday. And she had mentioned going to dinner before, and I explained to her that this is Ramadan, so there's fasting from the early morning prayer until a later evening prayer, and that dinner will be out for me. And so it was very sweet. It was a touching moment because she immediately said, well, let's adjust. We'll eat when you are able to eat. And I realized that even though my family doesn't fully understand this change in my life, and they have questions, and when I answer, I'm trying to be most patient and not impart more than what I actually know. I'm not trying to overstep boundaries because I realize I'm so new and that this is all still so very new to me, but that I have read the Quran, and so I'm able to just draw from some of what I've learned. And when I'm talking with them about Prophet Muhammad's teachings, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and his teachings, or Mother Aisha, and I am able to share with absolute joy and enthusiasm that I'm learning, and these things, though they're very new to me, are such an important part of my journey and my growth, and that it is in many ways creating in me a much better person. And so I will be a much better sister, a much better daughter, and just all, inshallah, much better, well-rounded human being. And so I'm actually excited more and more to be sharing, as I know best, how to explain what it is to be Muslim, and to explain more about Islam. And even though I feel very limited in my knowledge, I can certainly share at least the basics of my own experience and the wonderful people that I've met, and the joy that I'm experiencing, and the love that I feel and that is being shared with me, which is unparalleled to any other experience in my lifetime. So I want to share these things.
SubhanAllah, mashallah, and what a blessing that they're open-minded and being, supportive.
Yes.
Mashallah, inshallah, they will continue to be
Inshallah.
that way, and inshallah, may Allah just increase the love and care between you and all of your family members.
Inshallah.
Okay, so since this is your first Ramadan again,
Yes.
and I think anyway, as each Ramadan passes by, or as each Ramadan approaches, we would want to set goals for ourselves. But this is your first Ramadan, so do you have any goals in mind? And what are you looking forward to most this Ramadan?
Such a good question. I'm still putting the pieces together, but one goal is that I really do. So I'm almost finished reading the Quran for the second time, and I want very much to be able to complete it a third time for deeper understanding. And I feel that the impact that it'll have in terms of, hopefully, inshallah, finding some deeper meanings and moving more towards more self-discipline and knowledge that will fortify me going forward, as I delve deeper into more of the responsibilities of upholding the 5 pillars of Islam, and embarking on studies and really trying and inshallah hoping that the Arabic language takes hold. So reading the Quran and prayer is highest on my list of priorities. Learning du'as. So I feel like I will be utilizing this time as much as possible. I think the bigger challenge is that I work Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30. So I know trying to do all of this and balance it with measured discipline is going to come with challenges, and that's maybe where I feel like I could potentially stumble if I miss a prayer, and if I'm still struggling after a week or two with certain words or parts of prayer. Am I going to feel disappointment within myself, or how will I deal with that as I go? But just kind of keeping everything as simple as possible, manageable.
MashaAllah, inshallah, may Allah make it easy for you and give you success in all of your efforts. MashaAllah, I think I read today by one of our teachers a post about making goals during Ramadan and making them meaningful and I think it was consistent or making them practical. So mashallah, it sounds like you have that covered, like your goals are mashallah very meaningful and important to you, and then you have some consistent or goals that you can try to make consistent for yourself, inshallah. So inshallah. Okay, so fun stuff, inshallah. Ramadan, for people who have grown up as Muslims, they have a lot of stuff that brings nostalgia for them, whether it's food or just, gatherings with family. There's a lot of things that just for, like, with us, maybe, there's different holidays that have nostalgic memories. For us, Ramadan and Eid are like that for born Muslims. But since we weren't born Muslim, we have the opportunity to make traditions and build things in our Ramadans that will be nostalgic for us in the future. So have you thought about that? Have you thought of any traditions that you want to build for you and your family, or start for you and your family, inshallah?
The one thing that most stands out for me in terms of what I find I want to accomplish, or it's kind of part goal, but I want to develop this into a tradition during Ramadan, is where I have kind of a minimalistic approach. I mean, not truly, but or as much as I would like to commit to, but a pretty minimalistic approach to life in general. I want to basically kind of go through things that I've accumulated over time that might not have the value, and donate and do things for others that, if I think something that I have might be of benefit to someone else who may value it more, be willing to part with that. And that's kind of part one of the second part for me, which is really to be more available to help others. I feel like that's kind of the one thing that will really allow me to experience the benefits of being a good Muslim woman, in a sense, because I'm right now, my husband lives in another country and I'm here alone, and my family lives in other states. So outside of work, it's just me at home. And to become more community oriented, more community involved, and to really build within the community, but first by building relationships with others through giving of myself, of my time, of my efforts, any talents that I may have, is something I most look forward to. So I hope to translate that into tradition somehow.
Sister Heather, that's an amazing answer, mashallah. How beautiful. I can't imagine that, mashallah, that's just really such a beautiful and humble tradition that you want to start for yourself. And again, may Allah give you success in your efforts. I can tell you that MCC always needs volunteers during Ramadan, so you're always welcome here, alhamdulillah.
I love volunteering.
Mashallah. That's really beautiful. Okay, so last question. As a new convert, what would you like to share with the community viewers who are watching this outside of the MCC community? And how do you feel we could support new converts better?
Great question. I most would like to really develop relationships within the Muslim community, and I feel alhamdulillah, it's such an incredible blessing to have been guided and come into contact with so many wonderful people at MCC. When I was first reaching out to masjids in the area, it was because I needed the Shahada certificate to go to the country to marry my husband, and I hadn't yet really felt comfortable knowing that I wasn't so well-rounded in prayer and to go to the mosque to pray. And so I'm still at a point where I have so much more work to do, but I'm so willing to learn. And so any sisters who have knowledge, wisdom, experience that they are willing to impart, I am eager to listen, to learn, to share, and I'm very excited to be among such a good community of people, and the resources here are absolutely fantastic. And I will say that to my experience, it was a phone call and an email, and the response was so immediate, and Brother Munir just orchestrated everything so split second, literally just dropping everything to accommodate me. And I was thinking, who does that? Wherever in the world do these things happen? So there's such a special place in my heart for you and Brother Munir and Sister Hosea. Alhamdulillah, I feel so incredibly blessed to be invited here and to be sharing in this experience, in my experience with others, but also be able to be a part of something so much bigger. And I'm truly grateful for this. And in terms of, I think you guys do so well already drawing resources and garnering resources for new converts. I've not yet tapped into but been offered so many wonderful resources, so that's where it'll be picking up for me, and I will definitely be doing a deep dive into these wonderful, wonderful resources. But again, just wanting to be more a part of a community, and so I would never shy away from anyone that reaches out to me in any way, or if I reach out to someone and they can guide me or direct me, I would be ever so grateful.
MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. Honestly, it really is an honor for us. And I know Brother Munir and Asada Hosea, we all feel that it's an honor to be able to support you and welcome you. And you already are, mashallah, contributing just by sharing your story, and it sounds like you just want to be part of the community and give back, mashallah, and may Allah reward you for all of that. Alhamdulillah. And again, thank you so much for sharing your story. Inshallah, it'll be a benefit and for others, inshallah. Okay.
Inshallah.
Thank you so much, Sister Heather.
Thank you. It's a pleasure.
Alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.